I'm real good, real good. My daughter's actually signed her financial aid papers yesterday, which is crazy,
Oh, that's
crazy.
right. Congratulations. It was National Signing Day yesterday.
Yep, yep. Which it just sneaks up on, we're traveling every day at least an hour and a
What's up,
half
coach?
just to practice. There's Riley, Riley Lewis in the building.
What's
What's
up,
up,
Riley?
Coach B? How you doing,
Hey,
man?
what's up, man?
You guys see me?
Yeah,
I
we
can see.
see you. We good.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. What's up?
What's up, Riley? Last time I checked, you gave me 40 and sent me home packing.
Hey, that was crazy. That was a crazy one. That was when you remember what you said to me in the handshake line?
No, what I say?
You said, I've been coaching hoops for a long time, but you're one of the baddest white boys I've ever seen.
That's still true. That holds true. And I played with one of the best ever.
Who was that?
I played with Scott Skiles.
Monster.
Yeah, he played 10 years in the NBA. He was a full-time NBA head coach. I seen him get 45 at Minnesota. That's still a record. That's still a record. But you right up there with him. As far as you the baddest white boy I played against in high school, they gave it to me like that. It wasn't even, it was criminal. They should have locked you up for that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I got a Hey, coach, I got a question. How is it hard for you to watch games now, like high school games, basketball games, or just games in general?
No.
How do you watch them the same as you did as a kid, the same as you did as a player, same as you did as a coach?
I watch it as a fan now. You know what I mean? I'm more of just a fan of the game because I got no skin in the game. You know, when I was coaching, that was a lot different. I was more intense. I was more focused. You know, I was goal focused and goal driven. Now
Yeah.
I just watch it as a fan. You know what I mean? I go to a lot of basketball games live and watch a lot of college. My son Drew coaches at Loyola Chicago. I was there last week, saw two of his games, and those are easy too because I'm not coaching. I'm just sitting back watching. It's a lot easier.
Right, right.
When you're coaching, it's a whole different level of intensity because there's all that preparation that goes into it, and then the game is just like a quiz or a test. You know that from the stuff you do. Just all people see is what happens in the game. They don't see all the the film study that goes in, all the weight training, all the
Yeah.
practice time, all the off season, all the AU, all the small things that add up to a 32-minute basketball game in high school.
Yep. Yep. You only get 32 minutes. Like Ben Riley even talked about that. You get 32 minutes, 21 times, and the whole off season is dedicated to those 21 attempts at it. They don't see the hard sweat, blood, tear. They don't see any of that. The bus rides, the nothing. Nope, they don't see any of that. But and they don't want to see that though, coach. They only want to see the glory. They live in through the guy that's putting up the 40, through the coach that's raising the trophies. That's what they living through. They literally like they live through that. Um, my I want to ask another question before Riley get into it, but we talked about the last time about like how you would talk to the parents and how you communicate with the players. Like you said, just be honest with them. What was the hardest thing you had to explain to a parent?
Uh,
Like that they just didn't see. They couldn't see it.
hmm, that's tough. I think early on it was tough, but once I got going, I mean, explain to a parent why your kid's not playing.
Right.
Because like at some point you're just not good enough. Like at some point you're just not good enough, and like I had to explain to a parent the reason why the kid wasn't playing. I said In basketball, I said a playing group is 8 players. Okay. Sometimes you play 9. If somebody gets in foul trouble, you have a guard sub, a wing sub, and an inside sub, and 5 guys that start. And then after that, there's a 9th player in case someone gets in foul trouble, or 10th player. Everybody else are practice players, but everybody is just as important to the team as the guy who starts as the 12th or 13th man. And the parent didn't understand it, but because the parent never played sports, so they come to the game and see their kids sitting on the bench. They couldn't understand it. So what I did, every year I have a parent meeting at the beginning of the season. And then I said, there's only going to be one parent meeting. And it's going to be at the beginning of the season, because after that, I'm not talking to parents. If your child has a problem, he needs to come to me and see why he's not playing.
Right.
And I should say playing time is non-negotiable. It's a coach's decision. And I say that in the parent meeting, and I say that again. Playing time is non-negotiable. It's a coach's decision. I say, you're at the game watching your kid. I'm watching all 5 on the floor. I'm watching body language on the bench. I'm watching how your kid prepares in practice. I'm watching what they do in the weight room, how they study film, how they do everything. So, like, it doesn't come down to that. But that was like the toughest thing. I sat with a lady and she started crying. And then she said, I get it. I understand. But her feelings were still hurt. And so you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but you got to tell them the truth. Because if you don't tell them the truth, man, how they going to know?
Right.
How they going to know? So it's crazy.
You know how they're gonna know. They get to their junior year and senior year, they're in the same position they're in when they were in 8th grade, and then now they're paying for school, and they got to figure out another option. The reality sets in, and like at what I'd always done as a trainer, I've seen that, um, and it was usually never with the guys that I worked with, Coach D. It was the guys that decided not to work with me, because they didn't want to go through this pain and suffering that over here, they'd rather go and get their back rubbed over there. And then at the end of the day, their feelings is hurt at the end of the day. That's the point.
So tell them up front. If you tell them up front, at least they can't say you lied.
Right.
You know what I mean? They might not like it, but they can't say you lied. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
And
I had a parent of mine come in and tell me how good her son was. Now, this kid ended up being my leading scorer and went on, got a scholarship and played in college. But she told me how good her son was. And I didn't know how to play her son because I suspended him. Because we had won a game, right? We won a game. We were on the road and we went to get something to eat. And he didn't score the amount of points he wanted to score, or whatever. So him and another guy got together. The whole team was sitting together, and they went and sat in the corner. So when we got off the bus, I said, "You're suspended until your parents come in for conduct detrimental to the team." He didn't understand what that meant. I said, "That's conduct detrimental to the team." I said, "Whole team eating over here, you're eating over there, and your face is long." I said, "Don't come back until your parents come back. Don't come back." And so, like, he came back to practice the next day, and I'm like, "What'd I say, man? Get out the gym. Get out the gym." And so, like, he left, right, and came back with his mom and dad. So practice was over. They went in my office, and I never talked to a parent one-on-one. Never talked to. I always had an assistant coach there or 2 other people for litigation purposes, and he said, she said purposes. So I always took another coach there and a manager, so there would be people in the room. And she proceeded to tell me how good her son was. And he was good. But I'm like, I just listened. And after she got talking, this is no lie, I swear on my mom. After she got talking, she did like this and went to sleep. She fell asleep right on me. And the dad, it was her and the dad did like this. He was like,
I guess it was it.
That's a true story, and
Boom.
that's a true story. I couldn't make that up.
Right, right. She talked herself to sleep.
Can't make that stuff up.
I would say the kid's name, but I ain't gonna put him on blast like that. But,
It ain't his fault. It ain't his fault. His parents are the way.
but she would call me in the summer. Check this out. She called me in the summer one time. She was like, "Coach V, you got to help me." I'm like, "What's going on?" "Oh, please, Coach, you got to help me." I said, "Well, what's going on?" She's like, "Oh Lord, please help me with him, Coach V. Please help me." I say, calm down, calm down. What's going on?" She said, "Last night he ate a whole box of ice cream sandwiches." I'm like, "What?" I said, "Well, how many was in the box?" She said, 12. I said, "He ate a whole box of ice cream sandwiches and you brought him in the house and let her eat him? How can I help? I'm not at your house.
Right,
You show your this the same lady that came in and said that stuff to me.
right,
Just the same. The unrealistic expectations of parents are just amazing. And I know you've dealt with it.
right.
O'Reilly's dealt with it because he's on the coaching side now. But it's unbelievable.
You know how I've always dealt with them, Coach B? And see, they don't like me because I come with receipts. This film session, when every time when they came to complain to me about playing time, it was because I recorded all the practices, I recorded all the trainings, I recorded everything. So I was like, okay, oh, you want to come talk about playing time? All right, here's the clip, and I had it welled up, just let it play on through. And then afterwards, was never really no real expectations. But like you said, I've always told them, my starters play 90% of the time. And my starters like you were 6 to 7 players. And it was up to to parents and the players to decide if they wanted to fight themselves on or not. You know, if they wanted to fight themselves on a team, then they show up to practice. Then I always made it extremely hard for them to get through practice. Riley knows it. So I'm sorry, Riley. Go ahead.
No, I got something for you, Coach. When you going all the way back, growing up, what was your high school basketball experience like at DeMatha and the culture of basketball where you were at growing up? Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, yup. So like the high school I went to, one of the best high school programs in the country. My coach Morgan Wooten was like the first high school coach to get inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. Dude he was like that. He never yelled, never screamed, never cussed, never did none of that. Just sat there with his teacup, dipping in his tea bag. And the bench was the great motivator because we had so many great players. We had so many great players. I say that to say that like my senior year, we had 7 players that were Division I basketball players. Okay. Only 5 players can start, right? So, and one of them was a junior, Danny Ferry, who played at Duke, played in the NBA multiple years. He's a GM now in the NBA. But my basketball experience was crazy. At DeMatha, our team was good every year. When I tell people like some of the stuff they think I'm lying, I'd say, well, now you can just fact check me. Go Google. Just fact check me. We won a championship every year, all 4 years. All
Every
four,
year?
yeah, all 4 years we won a championship. So I'm from Washington D.C., so we don't have a state. We don't Washington D.C. not. So we have something called the city title, which is basically the best team in Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. This the DMV, and so like we won it 4 years in a row. We won it 4 years, and I was just a small cog in the machine. I was a small cog. We had great players, and I didn't even play like that until my junior year. My freshman year, I played JV. I played JV for Joe Mahalik. He was a head coach at Hofstra for a while. Just saw him recently, but anyway, in my sophomore year was crazy. Like my sophomore year, the very first game I played, I scored 23. I scored 23 points, And then the next game, I scored 4, and I came late to a practice. I didn't play the rest of the year.
Wait,
I didn't
wait.
play. I played, but I didn't play. I wasn't in the playing group. I would get in at the end of games and stuff like that. So my freshman year, I played JV. My sophomore year was spotty, but we won a championship, so everything's good because when you're winning, you can't complain.
Right.
My junior year, I didn't start. I didn't start. Somebody got hurt, and that was my opportunity about halfway through the year. But I was leading the team in scoring off the bench. I was averaging like 17 off the bench as a junior. And then we went on to win a championship again. In my senior year in 1984, uh, we had the #1 team in the nation, uh, ranked #1 by USA Today. And like I said, we had 7 seniors who went on to play Division I basketball. 7. Juan Neal, my point guard, Quentin Jackson, played at NC State. My 2 guard, Juan Neal, played at Niagara. My 3, Drew Comlow, he played at University of Maryland. My 4 was a guy named Danny Ferry. He was a year behind me. He played at Duke. And then I played at Michigan State. So we had 3 guys come off the bench. Steve Trax played at Old Dominion. Mike Graybill played at Boston University. And then Mike Grimes, 6'11", off the bench, played at Mount St. Mary's. So that was my high school team. We had 7 Division I players on, and really, like I said, 4 of us started, and 3 came off the bench. And that school is still like that today. Still like that.
Well, I got a question. Why do you think that culture and the winning culture has lasted so long? Coach, obviously, the head coach is not the same coach, and there's probably been a couple of coaches ever since then. How's the is it just the culture of winning? Everyone wants to be a part of that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot of what you were talking about, like the sacrifice. It was a big sacrifice for me to go to that school because like I didn't live by that school. It took me 2 hours to get to school every day. You know what I mean? So it was a big sacrifice for my family. I had to take 3 city buses to get to school. I took the A2, transferred to the B4, and then transferred to the 82. So it was basically a 2-hour bus ride to school, a 2-hour bus ride from school. So I lived in the inner city, and the school was in Hyattsville, Maryland. I grew up in Southeast DC, Anacostia. So, but like I didn't want to go there. My parents, my mother made me go, and it was the best thing for me because that culture. It was about 4 things at that school. 4 things athletes always had to do. You had to have God, family, school, and sports in that order. And he maintained. I mean, it's all on the walls there at that school. It was a Catholic school,
Right. Right.
and I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Like to this day. But it was the best thing for me. It's like medicine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If you taking some medicine, it's nasty, but it make you feel better. It's the best thing for you.
Afterwards, right.
That coach, that coach had built that culture. He started coaching there in the late 50s, and he's coached there until 2000. So when he retired, a guy named Mike Jones took over.
Right.
Mike Jones, he coached. I could throw some names at you: Victor Oladipo, Jarian Grant, and the other Grant brother that plays Markel Fultz. I mean, it's so many dudes. They're playing the NBA. They play at their school because of the God, family, school, and sports. Never be out. Can't operate outside your priorities. And the hard work and winning, the hard work and winning still remain. And the football program is crazy. The football, the football might be better than the
Yeah.
basketball program, or it's right there, and it's the same thing. Strong academics, very strong academic school, which I was horrible at. I had to go to summer school every year. No lie, because I was always not doing well in one class or the other. But the academics came first, and the sports was after that. Then the culture is still there today. Still there. That dude
What was
Chase, that dude Chase Young played at the. I mean, so many NFL dudes. It's crazy.
what was your recruitment process like there? Like you just said, you didn't play till a little bit later in your high school career. So how did your recruitment when did it start and how'd you end up at State, Michigan State?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? So it's back then it was real different than it is now. You can't even imagine it. Like it really wasn't like AAU like that. If you wanted to get recruited, you had to go to this thing called five-star basketball camp, right? And they had it in Pittsburgh. And they had 4 camps. One was in Holmesdale, Pennsylvania, and the other 3 were at Pittsburgh at Robert Morris. And so, like, you had to go to five-star and get recruited. It was some of the best players. I mean, I always feel like I never belonged there, but like the competition is so good that you're going to. There's so many coaches that used to go to five-star. Not only that, the school where I played at, my coach had a shoe deal. So this we talking about back in the 70s and 80s. My coach had a shoe deal. So we traveled by plane 5 games a year. We traveled anywhere from California to Texas to Kentucky. I'm in high school playing in a sold out Rupp Arena where University of Kentucky played. We played right before they played. So coaches from all around the country would be able to see you at DeMatha, and they would come to our practice. My recruiting process was crazy because like I said, I didn't really play till my senior year. My junior year I played, but that summer going into my senior year, I went to five-star, had a great camp at five-star, and I was going to go to North Carolina State. The schools that recruited me: North Carolina State in the ACC, Clemson in the ACC. Marquette was an independent back at that time. Michigan State, and then I visited the University of Richmond down in Richmond, Virginia. I kind of wanted to stay home. Then I visited. How about I never got recruited by the University of Maryland, which was 5 minutes from my high school, and I never got recruited by Georgetown, who went to 3 Final Fours in 4 years. Like when I was in high school, they never recruited me. They said I wasn't good enough. So Michigan State was the first school I visited. I had never been nowhere before, like by myself. And I went to Michigan State, and I'll never forget this young coach picked me up from the airport named Tom Izzo, picked me up from the airport and took me in. And then my host was Sam Vincent and Kevin Willis. You don't know those names, but those are guys who played in the NBA. They were All-Americans at Michigan State, and they were my hosts for the weekend. I got there, Michigan State was playing Michigan. It was a Michigan State football weekend. Michigan State lost 42-0 to Michigan. They lost 42-0. And I just remember like so many people in the stadium were then the people never left. I'll never forget that. And then the guys took me out to hello, can you see me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, the guys took me. I had to make a long story. I had a great time at Michigan State, and I had kind of made up my mind I was going to go there, but I was going to go there, but I wanted to go and do some other visits just for comparison.
Right.
So they took you out on the town, huh?
At Michigan State?
Yeah.
Yeah, they took me to back then there was a club called the Outer Limits. Do you know where the Hobby Lobby is
Yeah.
on Grand River? That used to be like a huge nightclub, and people used to come from all over the state to go to that place. Man, we walked up in there. I'm like, what? And it was a line like wrapped around the corner, and I went in there with Kevin Willis. He just opened the door and walked in. I'm like, we get in like that? He was like, yeah, it's like that, big dog. And we walked right in. Kevin Miller's 7 foot. He's 7 foot. So we
Okay.
walked right in, and yeah, it was crazy. It was the best ever.
You
Best
knew
time
you
I
were
ever
going
had.
there.
Huh?
You knew you were going there right away.
It was a wrap. Plus,
Immediately.
plus, I knew I was gonna have a chance to play.
Right,
Yeah.
which is important.
You know, just to be frank, the academics was like whatever. I'm like, I'm gonna play, and it's gonna be some lot of pretty girls here. They like us and stuff like. You know, I'm looking through the lens of an 18-year-old. You know what
Oh,
I'm saying?
yeah. You're looking at what MSU has to offer. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, now as a adult, I would tell my sons they get recruited, other stuff, but I know what I was looking at when I was 18.
Right.
It was the same thing you looked at when you got recruited.
Coach, we were looking at the same stuff, trust me.
All of us.
Yeah.
I
That's
got
awesome.
how was so where was Coach Izzo and the coaching staff when you were playing?
Last man on the totem pole. He was
Just
the
get
gopher. He was the gopher. That's why he picked me up from the airport.
go get
How old
him,
was
go
he?
get this.
You go for this and you go for that. So he's the last man. But you know what?
Pay your dues.
He used to travel on the road and come see me play. I'll never forget. We played at Rupp Arena. When we got done, he was like right there when I was walking through the tunnel. Him and my main recruiter was a guy named Mike Dean. So it was Mike Dean and Tom Izzo was the guys who I seen all the time coming to my games and stuff like that. So yeah, it was like Coach Iz like first year because he came in '83 and that was my going to my senior year was '83, '84. So he was making like $7,000 a year living in University Village.
Wow. Dang.
Yeah, he was a part-time assistant.
Right.
Yeah.
Climb that totem pole for sure.
Yeah.
Man, he was persistent. He the same dude though he is like right now as he was then. I mean, I texted him like 2 days ago after the game and stuff. He the same dude. He never switched up. He the same guy. At least to me he is.
Uh, to everyone around here.
I mean, what you see is what you get.
Right.
What was that like then when he recruited your son?
It was crazy because he told Denzel he wasn't good enough. So I'll never forget, like it was the summer after his sophomore year, Dwayne Stevens called me. He's like, "Hey V, can you and Zell come up to the office?" I'm like, "Yeah." We went up there, and this was June, right? So this is June, right when school getting out, and Coach Iz just told him, he's like, "You're not good enough to play here at State. That's why we're not offering you." He said, "Until you shoot it better and you get better in these other areas defensively," he's like, "You can't play here." So this is the summer of going into his junior year. So my man, my man was like, "Dad, can we go shoot?" I never forget. He's like, "Dad, can we go shoot?" I said, "We shoot every day." He's like, "No, I want to go right now." He was hot.
Right
So
after.
he got after it. So this is June, right? So then July is the big AAU summer. AAU for AAU, July is big time. Riley knows that stuff. Where you go to the tournaments, you know what I mean? You go to the what they call them, the showcases where it's the open period where the coaches are. So my man just basically showed out. I couldn't go on the road with them because I was working. My wife used to go. Remember, I told you one of us got to be there. We talked about that previously. So she would take him on the road, and then like dudes used to be calling me up. Then man, your son out here killing. I'm like, what? They say, man, he putting on the show. I said, man, stop it, man. He's like, look, man. I remember Jim Boylan called me. He was coaching at Utah. He's like, Zell got any offers? I said, no. He's like, he got one now. He said, I'm offering. And I'm like, all right. So I thought dudes was bullying me or whatever.
Right.
So then he goes to about three or four tournaments, but always went to the last one of the year,
Right.
which was in Las Vegas. was called the Adidas Super 64. And I went to that one. And so like I went to the tournament and like we flew. And before I got to we was checking into the hotel, my phone rings, right? It's John Beeline from Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey Carlton, how you doing? This is John Beeline." I said, "What's up, coach? How you doing?" He's like, "Good." He's like, "You got a minute?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "When will Denzel go to Michigan?" I'm like, "Denzel can go wherever you want to go. I got nothing to do with that." He's like, "Cause I want to offer him right now." And I was like, "Okay." I said, "You want to talk to him?" He said, "I can talk to him right now, but I can't talk to him when that tournament starts. So I can't talk to him." He said, "It's because the coaches couldn't talk to the players back then when the tournament start." So I said, "I got Zell right here." I gave Zell the phone, and he's like, "Denzel, whatever, we want you to come to Michigan as soon as you get back from Vegas. We want you on campus. We're gonna visit. Blah blah blah." So I guess he had been killing on the circuit. I didn't know because I just be hearing stuff. So
Michigan
uh,
offered him before state.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when the tournament was over, I went to a game. I went to the first game I went to. Zell had like 7 threes in the first half, and Beeline and Izzo was sitting right next to each other.
Right.
And so like when the game was over, I'm sorry, when the tournament was over, we was just in Vegas, like going through Caesar's Palace, about to get something to eat, whatever. My phone rang, right? It's Dwayne Stevens from Michigan State. He's like, "Hey V, did Michigan offer?" I said, "Yeah, they did. He offered before we got here." He's like, "Shit, we not having that." He's like, "Shit, we about to offer." He's like, can y'all come back on camp?" I said, "Well, you gotta talk to Denzel." And so like I gave Zell the phone. He was happy. He's like, but I told Zell, I was like, "Man, make the mugs recruit you."
Yeah.
I said, "They told you they didn't want you." I said, "Make them recruit you. Tell them you're going to Michigan for a visit when we get back."
Yep.
So we got back and we were sitting in the parking lot of the Bres, and he wanted to commit. I'm like, "Look, man, don't do that. Make them mugs recruit you, man. Make them recruit you." So
He's like that. I'm ready to go. This is where I want to go. Yep. Yep.
it was me, my wife, my son Drew, and Denzel. We was sitting in the car about to go to a meeting with Coach Izzo. So we're going to the meeting, right? And
Excuse me, Coach. Was
yeah,
was was Drew on staff at this time or not?
Drew was a college basketball player.
Oh, so he wasn't. He didn't finish yet. Gotcha.
No, Drew was just a college basketball player. He's playing in Oakland, but because we had all, was going out to watch, Zell play and stuff. So, yeah, it was like we got in the office and he was like, "Yeah, Denzel, sorry about, what I said in June. You proved me wrong. We want to offer you. This would be, great for you." And the whole room was quiet, right? And everybody looking at me. I didn't say nothing. But my wife looking at me, DJ, Mark Montgomery, everybody looking at me, right? And Denzel said, "Well, Coach, I got a visit scheduled for Michigan uh, in a couple days." He said, "I'll get back to you when I get back." And Coach was like, "Take your time, do whatever do what you got to do." He's like, I'm like, and then we got outside. He's like, "Dad, you know how hard that was for me?" He's like, "Man, why you make me do that?" I'm like, "Cause you make somebody recruit you. If they want you, they're gonna recruit you."
Right. Right. Right.
So, but like he had offers, um, to go other places, but it basically came down to Michigan State, because he wanted to be at home. The thing about Zell, he a family guy. He just wanted to be home and stuff like that. So he ended up going to state. After about like 2 weeks of agonizing, we was driving in the car coming back. He was like, "Man, can I call him please and get this over with?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so that's what happened.
That happened.
That's how it happened.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
But
no, it was a crazy scenario, but that was a great thing that they told him the truth. Coach Iz told him, because it just lit that fire. You
right.
know what I mean? So this after we had just won a state championship in 2011. We went to the state championship game in 10, won it in 11, and then we won it again in 12. But
Right.
he was like, man, I'm not waiting. He was crazy. You had to see his facial expressions. But that's how it went down.
Right. Did the recruiting process pick up after that big summer going into his junior year? Like for like all the schools start calling and messaging and all that. He was kind of tired of that. He was like, I just want to go here, or he just wanted to just go to Michigan State.
No, he had a lot of offers, man.
They started coming. Yeah.
I mean, so when he started getting offers when he was a freshman in high school. You know, Notre Dame offered him like when he's a freshman. Because when he was in eighth grade, he was playing up. He was playing with 10th graders in AAU. And so they was like, who's that kid running the point? 6'4" kid. He's a freshman. So he had some offers like from I think who was the Xavier Butler and Notre Dame offered him before he had even played one high school game because he was playing up like 2 years and he was playing on a showcase. But he had always had some Division I offers, but he didn't have the big ones. And so when I say the big ones, the Big Ten offers, the Michigan State. To me, I consider those like every kid in the state. Like if you play basketball, you want to go, you want to play at a big school and play in front of your parents and your family, your community. If you're gonna play, if you're not gonna play, don't go there. You know what I'm saying? So I had another player that played for me, Brent Forbes, that played for me, and so like Brent was getting recruited at mostly mid-major schools, and Michigan State told him they would give him a preferred walk-on. And I told Brent, I said, don't go to Michigan State. You go to a school that's going to offer you a scholarship. I said, if they want you, they're going to offer you a scholarship. And he looked at me, him and his mom, they couldn't figure out what I was talking about. And I was like, look, at some point, you got to figure out what's best for you. Even if you want to, you got to figure out what's going to work for you. Don't worry about what Denzel doing, what that guy doing. Right. What is best for you? So he went to Cleveland State, led them in scoring for 2 years. After his second year, he wanted to transfer, and the first school that offered was Michigan State. And so I was in that meeting. And so we went now. Well, the first meeting we went into, it was like I went in with like Dwayne Stevens and Mark Montgomery, and it was like we won him, but they didn't want to tamper. I said, you ain't gotta say nothing. If he know y'all want him, he gonna come. Because that's where he wanted to go in the first place. But I wouldn't let him go there. Because my whole thing is for any player, not just my kid, go somewhere where you want it. Yeah. Because if you go where you want it, they're going to treat you better. You know what I mean? If you're a walk-on, you're going to get walk-on treatment.
True. Yeah, it's not fun treatment either.
Nah, come on, man.
Trust me. We all know a kid that went through that process and he didn't like it. So it just, and I told him, I advise guys a lot, just like you, coach. Like, this is what's going to happen if you go here as a walk-on.
Yeah.
You're the ball boy, bro.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Not basically, but that's what you are.
You are.
It's amazing how that works, right? We get smarter as we get older, right?
But yeah, we call that wisdom, coach. We don't get older, we get wiser. I'm trying to value that.
Coach, when you won those back-to-back state titles, so you went to 3 straight, correct?
Yeah, the first year we lost to Country Day, they blew us out 71-57. I still know the score.
Who'd they have?
They had Ray McCallum.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember Ray McCallum.
And they had Amir Williams, 6'11" dude that played Ohio State.
Yeah, he went to Ohio State. My dad used to take me to watch those guys in the tournament.
But
tough.
they put it on us. It was criminal. It was a beatdown.
And that was those guys sophomore year, Zell and everybody.
Yeah, they were in 10th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Zell, Sap. Yeah.
so
And
that next year when you did you know that winning one, were you guys like the whole mantra, like we're getting back there and we're winning it this time? Was like the goal always get back and win it after being there the year before?
Yeah. Yep. The goal was to win the state championship. You know what I mean? Because like it was crazy. Sexton hadn't been there in 50 years.
right.
They hadn't been there in 50 years. And when we got there in 2010, it was like we might actually have a shot because these guys are young. So like the next year, that was the whole goal. We went 17-0, and then we lost 2 in a row. Got smacked in the mouth at home by LaDante Hinton and a good Eastern team. I mean, he had probably the best quarter of basketball I ever seen in my life. Like Michigan State didn't recruit LaDante, right? And Izzo was at the game and his staff. They had already offered Zell. So it was Zell's junior year, Dante's senior year. He had 21 in the first quarter.
Mm.
I think
He
I
was
was at that game.
he was a
He
machine.
smacked us. They
Yeah.
they smacked us and they beat us. And then we 17-0 feeling ourselves. So that's 17-1, right? So then we go to Waverly and Waverly beats us and they win a share of the CAC. I think we was the red at that time, the CAC red. And before we could leave the floor, they brought the ladder out and started cutting the nets down. Before we left the floor.
They had the ladder ready.
So we were 17-2. We didn't lose no more after that. We ended up 26-2 and we won the state. I told my dudes, we ain't cutting down the nets from winning no league. we not cutting the nets down from winning the league. We got bigger goals. Don't worry about that. So
Right.
everybody was all upset about it. I'm like, nah, we gonna be playing. We're gonna be the last team standing. And then we'll cut the nets down where we supposed to. And then so we won that one. We went 27-2. The next year, we went 27-1. We lost a good Pershing team. They had K. Feld in them, and they beat us. In a crazy. I blew the game. I was bad coaching at the end of the game. We was up by 10 with a minute and a half to go. Zell fouled out, and I just made some bad coaching moves, and we lost. So we 27-1. So, like Riley, that team you coached that won the state, I never seen a team go undefeated and win the state until y'all did a couple few years ago. So I was there to see that. That was big time. But you know how big it is to win a state championship because everybody don't win one. You know what I mean? And it's just a different feeling.
I got a
When I
question.
was
Look, I mean, who is the best basketball player you ever coached against, Coach B, in high
Oh,
school?
it's not even close. It's a dude named Leon Freeman. Leon Freeman, he played at Belleville.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to look this one up now. Dude dropped 45 on us. He was
on
like
that
6'5".
team,
Huh?
on the teams that won the state titles.
No. This is my first year as a varsity head coach.
Okay.
And it was in 05, 06. We played at this holiday tournament up in Ypsilanti, and we played Belleville. And this dude, Leon Freeman, listen, he was playing with a tether on.
What?
He was playing with a tether on, and my man gave us 45, but we won the game in overtime. I think he had 46. I think he had 46. Leon Freeman, unbelievable. 6'5", he could do everything.
Wow.
He could shoot the three. He could drive, penetrate. Uh,
I think we lost him.
Lost.
I think his phone died. We'll see if he click back in. How you doing, Mr. Wright Lewis?
I'm good, Mr. AR. How are you?
Can't complain. Cannot complain, my guy. No, I got it. You know what? So I had to update this stupid thing and let him back in.
And
There
I'm
you go.
sorry. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm good, coach.
Uh, yeah, Leon Freeman and Riley Lewis, the only guys that ever gave me 40.
Seriously?
Huh?
Seriously?
Riley Lewis and Leon Freeman are the only two people that I coached for a long time.
I
So
didn't
only
know that either.
no, only two people ever gave me 40 plus. Even LaDante Hinton, like he ended up with like 35, 30. I had people give me 30s,
Right, right.
but only two dudes gave me 40. Riley gave me like 40, and Leon Freeman gave me 46.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I didn't do it with the tether on though, so I don't know if it's as cool.
But you did in the playoffs. You sent me home.
Yeah,
So that's good.
Oh
That's
man.
great. I still remember
appreciate
that,
that.
man. I remember that.
Appreciate that.
I told my dudes, man. I'm like, I was trying to tell them before the game. I'm like, my man, you know, you be talking to guys, but sometimes guys don't listen.
Oh,
I was trying to tell them. I'm like, look, man, I done seen the guy play. I done seen him. We watched the film, everything. You can tell them, but some people don't believe that fat meat is greasy until they taste it themselves and their face is all greasy.
hands all greasy. Right.
Yeah,
No, you're right. You gotta touch the stove. I call it touching the stove too. You gotta touch some kids just gotta touch the stove, coach.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then they don't believe you. And you know, they look at Riley like, oh, this guy, come on, man, coach. There's no way he's not getting past me. He's not scoring. Oh, it happens. But then they don't prepare. Um, I have another question. What was the best team you ever coached against, coach? Or
Hmm.
coached against or played against?
Oh, the best team I coached against was probably that team that beat us in the state championship game with Country Day. They had Ray McCallum on it, Amir Williams, and then they had like 4 or 5 D1 dudes. They was just too much. They had better players, a better coach. I got out coach, and they outplayed me, outcoached me. So that's what I'll give them. The best team I ever played against, it ain't even close. It's the Flying Illini when they had Nick Anderson, they had um Marcus Liberty, Kendall Gill, Steve Bardo. You don't know none of them names, but
I know those names. I'm in between you two. I know those names.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But no,
Oh,
that's
Nick Anderson. Yeah,
yeah,
These
that
are
name.
NBA players. Yeah.
yeah. All the dudes that I'm telling you, and they lost to Michigan in the Final Four in '89, but that team was unbelievable. I never seen so many dunks and got dunked on so many times with the
Yeah.
Flying Illini. They was unbelievable. Them dudes, man, and they was tough. Them Chicago dudes, man. It was
Yeah.
like that was different. I played in the Chicago Pro Am because one of my teammates, Ken Redfield, was from Chicago. So I used to go up there and play in the Pro Am at the IIT up there in the summer on the south side. Man, different.
Hmm.
Going off that, who's the best player you ever played against?
Wow, played against a lot of great players. No, high school, college, or pro, whatever.
Yeah, don't matter.
The best player.
Do
Each
college,
let's
do
go high
college first.
school. Let's go best player you played against in high school, then best player you played against in college, and then best player you played against while you played pro.
Yeah, high school. This dude named Johnny Dawkins played at Duke.
Oh yeah.
He's the head coach at
Yeah.
UCF right now. But Johnny was like, he was different. Like 6'2", jump out the gym. He used to catch alley-oops backwards in games, could shoot it. This was pre-3-point line. He could shoot it. He could do everything. Johnny Dawkins, by far the best high school player I played against. He's 2 years older than me. We still friends to this day. Still friends to this day. Um, in college, the best player I played against, probably Steve Alford.
Indiana.
Played in Indiana. Now that's a bad white boy too, but he didn't get me 40 like Riley Lewis. But Steve Alford was amazing, and they won the national championship like in '87, which was my junior year. Steve Alford could do it. Like he could shoot the three, he could drive, penetrate, make the right plays, and he played for that crazy ass Bobby Knight. So, if you can do that and win a national championship, tip my cap.
Right. For sure. Was Alford like physically strong, coach? What made him so good to not be able to stop him from getting points and buckets?
Mentally tough. Mentally, if you looked at his frame, like he wasn't like super athletic, didn't jump out the gym, just had it all. Had it all. He's Mr. Indiana, Mr. Basketball in high school from Newcastle, Indiana. Just he was by far probably the best guard that I played against. Best big man I played against probably David Robinson. We played Navy in we used to have something called a Cutlass Classic, and we used to play it. And he gave us like 44 in college, but he's like 7'2".
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we had a 1 point lead with like 7 seconds to go. And coach was like, George, we had a 7-footer named George Papadakis. He was like, George, we're denying him in the post because if we turn and get it, you can't get no hope on the other side. George let him catch. He turned around and hit it, and they beat us by 1. Navy. Played the Naval Academy.
Yeah. Yeah. He was monster. He was huge. He just built different than a lot of big men back in those days too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was DullahFit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because immediately too, he was just big, strong. And I'm still trying to figure out, coach, like why those NBA players in like the 70s and 80s, how did they look like that with no gyms to work out? And then once they got into like the 90s and the 2000s, they just got to like slim. How they go from how they put it this way, how they go from Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley to Wimby and those guys today? How do you think? Meaning,
It's a different game now. It's a lot different game than it was back then. You know what I mean? Back then it was ground and pound. Detroit bad boys. You know what I mean? They talk about flagrant fouls. They ain't seen no flagrant fouls. What was the man? Uh, Kurt Rambis going to the basket clothesline by Kevin McHale
right.
right when he's in the air. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Uh, but as far as the physicality, um, I think some guys were genetically gifted. When you talk about Anthony Mason, like obviously he's genetically gifted and he lifted weights.
Right.
A guy like Karl Malone, genetically gifted, lifted weights. You know what I mean? But not everybody looked like that. Not everybody looked like that. Not everybody was built like that. But you had some guys who were just, genetically gifted, and they put the work in the weight room. Like I told you in like the other day, like when I first got to Michigan State, we didn't have no strength coach. Like I didn't have a strength coach. We didn't have a nutritionist. We didn't have like the stuff that players have now, which is it's a huge upgrade. And I'm glad to see everybody has that, but like I had to figure it out. I had to, I had to figure it out, man. I had dudes on a football team that taught me how to lift weights, and then so I got stronger that way. So, nah.
And the reason why I said that is because me and Riley has always had this long-standing debate, okay, coach? And We just want to get your perspective of this debate. If you were picking a team today, who's your number one pick? Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, or LeBron James?
In today's game?
Today,
Oh, today I'm picking LeBron James.
you picking LeBron
Thank
James.
you. Thank
Huh?
you. Thank you, coach. Thank you, coach.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if I'm today, I'm picking LeBron James.
Thank
Now
you, coach.
if we were in the 80s or whatever, I'm picking Magic Johnson. You know what I mean? This is different. Magic could play in this era, but LeBron James is a combination of every guy you said.
Right.
He's like a cyborg, like he's the guy's 40 years old. He had a triple double last night. He had a
Really?
35-point triple double. Like that's different.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Most dudes that's 40 years old, they watching on the couch like me.
Yeah, with something hurt. Something's hurt too.
But his training, all the stuff that he gets done, like with his body, you know what I mean? He spends a lot of money on his, his diet, a lot of money on getting acupuncture, massage. He gets
Mhm.
dry needles.
Right.
He sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber.
Right.
He does just everything. He goes in his Normatec boots after every game, before the
Yep.
game. I mean,
Right.
he does.
Yeah, it's like
He's the advanced version of almost everybody you said.
right,
So like that's what I'm saying. The science of today's game is way better than anything that we ever had.
right, right. And I don't think I personally don't we really don't know how good those guys could have been if they had all the stuff that he has now. Like I take my daughters monthly to the OMM and they get dry needling, acupuncture every month, right? And then it's within a couple of days, the element is gone. It's loosened up, tension's gone, whatnot, right? I've never had dry needling in my life. You know what I mean? And some of the stuff that I went through, pains and suffering wise, could have been like taken care of just through going through a natural, regular checkups and stuff like that. So LeBron has that as a personal, every day, every week. That's what's been done with him. He's getting massaged 2 hours a day, like literally. I'm sleeping 2 hours a day. He's getting a massage for 2 hours a day, so he's going to be taken care of. So and with the end of the day, I agree with you guys at the same time. I do.
No,
No, you don't.
the recovery's unbelievable. The
Oh,
recovery. Have you seen the starting five on Netflix?
no.
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
Not
Then
yet.
you'll see kind of what I'm talking about if you watch that, about the recovery, how much recovery plays into these guys being able to extend their careers for a long time.
No, it's everything, man. It's everything. And I listen, let me say it again, Riley. I 100% agree that in today, I'm taking 6'9", 260 LeBron James to start my team. But when you ask me who's the best player, Michael Jordan is the best player to ever play basketball. And I'm standing on that.
You're a LeBron hater, is what you are. So I'm not. You don't sit here and act like you're going to agree with what Coach V said just because Coach V's on the podcast.
I am not. I've
You're a hater.
never,
No,
never.
Favorite player.
Dula,
He hates him.
I have to agree with you. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I would say he's the greatest basketball. I'd say LeBron James is right there behind him, but I'm not a LeBron hater, but I'm a realist. Jordan went 6-0 in the finals until somebody catch him. The only other dude that can catch him is plays a different sport. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes.
right.
But as far as basketball, I'm going Jordan 1, LeBron 1A. So, and I love LeBron. There's nobody better than to me. When I saw him in 2002, 2003, I told my kids that. My kids were mad at me because I was saying that LeBron was more different than Kobe. And me and my son Drew argue to this day about it.
And what do you mean more different than Kobe? Explain that.
Kobe Bryant was a straight killer, assassin.
Right.
LeBron's game is more of facilitation, bringing people together in order to win. He cares about like the win. Kobe's a killer.
Right.
And Jordan was a killer. Like
Right.
those are different personality types. LeBron, grew up. It was just him and his mom and Coach Drew Joyce. So he wants to bring. He's a family man. He want to bring people together. That's it. You gotta watch the starting five, and then watch LeBron with his family. He's all about bringing people together, and that's how he plays out on the court. And people sometimes they will attack LeBron for not being a cold-blooded killer, but he's not. That's
He's
not
not.
who he is.
That's not his game. Agree.
That's not who he is in life. He's not that way. But he's
We're talking personality wise. Like
yeah. But
Kobe
for
Bryant personality is that. Like he doesn't change often from the court to off the court. Michael Jordan was the same way. Now Michael Jordan's a grandpa, but at the same time, he didn't change on and off the court, personality wise. I've watched all how he communicated with his teammates off the court. He was still on the court. LeBron James, I believe, his personality off the court and on the court is the same. It's just like you said. He's not like those guys. Mr. Ryder Lewis.
He's smart.
I'm just saying.
Let's talk about something else before you make me mad, Abdullah.
That's it. But then he's gonna say off TV, Coach B. He's gonna say that you and Coach B is old school, right? But I'm gonna tell you this, Larry Bird. People don't give Larry Bird enough credit. Larry Bird, if he could have stayed healthy for
yeah.
50 years, come on, man. Everyone always tags me when they ask me who's my top five. I just told you guys who's four, and then guess what? I add in Shaq because I've never seen Shaq.
Let me ask one question. True or not true? Do I not have a text message in my phone from probably a month ago where you told me LeBron James is the sixth best player of all time?
Depends what the context of what our conversation was about.
Yo, we not getting to that debate, is we?
See, you don't want to talk about the context of the whole situation. You want to talk about just the end. And if that's the case, then yes, I said it. But now, if we're talking about when we're talking guard, forward, small forward, power forward, shooting guard, specifically, who's the best point guard? Let's ask Coach B. Who's the best point guard to ever play?
Magic Johnson, to me.
Without a doubt, right?
Yeah.
Best
agree on
shooting.
that. I can agree on that.
Best shooting guard.
Michael Jordan.
So, okay. Best small forward.
LeBron James.
Best power forward. And that's where I come in. I said,
hey, Tim Duncan.
Who'd you say?
I said Tim Duncan.
So Tim Duncan, so his best center.
That's up for debate. Like that I seen with my own eyes.
Yeah. It had to be that you see. Yep.
That I seen. I got to go with Kareem and Shaq.
Woo. You can only choose one.
All right, then I'm gonna take Shaq. Then I'm gonna take Shaq. Shaq was the most physically dominating center I ever seen. I walked in. I was in a room with him in 2016. That dude eclipsed the sun.
Right.
I can't imagine what he was like out on the basketball court.
Like prime Shaq. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Shit. I mean, the nicest dude ever. Like for real. Like I was like, dang. I couldn't believe how nice he was.
Yeah.
Unbelievable how he overpowered dudes. Like Kareem had the hook shot. Wilt Chamberlain had the finger roll.
Yeah.
Hakeem Olajuwon had the moves, but Shaq was just straight up like Shaq. Missed free throws though.
Yeah. Imagine if he made 70% of his free throws.
Yeah.
That is a bit,
Coach V, I want to ask you about one more player you coached against. My big brother who I looked up to, and who helped train me, Chris Harrison Docs. What was it like coaching against that dude?
Chris is nasty. He's a competitor. Oh, nasty, physical, dirty,
Yeah.
grimy,
Yeah.
Dirty's right.
winner. Uh, uh, you want him on your team and not play against him.
Yep.
You know, prime CHD was different. I seen him on the AU circuit. Him and Denzel play together. I seen Chris do some people dirty out in Vegas. Like, I wish I had video from that stuff. No, CHD was probably he was one of the toughest guys to prepare for because like you really wasn't gonna stop him. You weren't gonna stop him. You could try to contain him and make sure nobody else beat you. Because Chris had the ball in his hands and his handle was so good he can get his shot off against you. He can get to the basket. He played defense.
Mhm.
Just CHD, he was him. How the kids say now? He
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
yeah.
it was. Truth. Definitely the truth. Yeah. Competitor though. And those are the attributes you said though. Those are attributes you need to be a good player, man. You do.
No, he was him. Like Riley Lewis was him that when he sent me home that day, had me having nightmares.
I think
Hey,
Riley gave everybody 30 plus that playoffs. I believe. I don't think you ever scored under 30 that playoff, right?
yeah, I did against Catholic. I had like 28.
He had a
Hey,
hell of a career, man.
Appreciate that, coach.
it is. It was.
Appreciate
Well, I have something. I have one more question.
Okay.
Moving into, because I don't want to take that much more time. I got a question. When did you know it was time to stop coaching?
When I didn't have a passion for it anymore, it was like I had stopped coaching going into 1 year after Denzel. I stayed one more year because I told Jalen Hayes that I was going to finish it out with him.
Mhm.
So in 2013 was my last year. And then I came back after the 13-14 season. I came back for 14, 15, 15, 16. Like my heart wasn't in it. And I felt like if you're going to be coaching, you're going to give your all to it. And I felt like I wasn't giving my all to the game. I wasn't giving my all to the kids, to the school, the community. And it was time for me to step away. You know what I mean? I had given so much of myself for so many years, coaching a lot of kids and stuff. My son had just got drafted by the Bulls. And I'm like, you know what? If I keep coaching, I won't be able to see no games like I want to. Uh, enough was enough. I did everything I could possibly give. And so at that point, I made a decision to stop coaching. And it was the right decision for me. It was the right decision for my family. Right decision for them so they can find somebody who was going to be 100% in to what they were doing.
Right, right.
Thank you, coach. I just want to say before we go, you're a legend and someone I look up to, and I appreciate you spending some time with us today, in the conversation, and appreciate you always.
No, I appreciate y'all for having me, man. It was fun to sit down and chop it up with y'all, man. Thank you.
Too. All right, Coach V. And I'll get all this over to you too, so you can have cut ups of it as well. So you know.
Nothing but love for you, Dula. You know that, man.
All day from day one, man.
My
All right,
man.
love you, man. Talk to you
All
later.
right.
All right, Riley. Peace.